this matchup with Baltimore from the front seven, especially the linebackers' perspectives, because of what Lamar, the angle, what Lamar provides alongside there. For your position group specifically, what is the challenge that's unique to this specific matchup with Lamar that they have to maintain?
Sure. It's one of those weeks, that really go into what we talk about, like playing Browns football. And playing Browns football, especially defensively, is being physical, is being extremely violent, having urgent effort outside, and really playing with passion. So when you talk about, an opportunity area for us, it's another opportunity for us to really do what our standard is, and that's do what we're supposed to do when we're supposed to do it every time.
After watching that first game and Greg on the outside, obviously he's played there before a lot earlier in his career, but how did you guys come away with how he did out there and with Miles starting in the slot too?
Oh, yes, Ash, the biggest thing with Greg playing outside is, it's not the exception. Right, it's the expectation for our guys to really go out there and be the tip of the spear so that we can help our engine get home and really be a trusted teammate for our nerve center. So, really to see Greg out there, working, doing the things that he's done since training camp has been great to see, right? Because we know that everything that we do is a statement, from the classroom to every rep that we take at practice to the film. So it was really good to see that statement on tape being able to be verified. And with Miles, again, another trusted teammate. He's somebody that really embodies what's important to us. Obviously we talk about the violence, the speed of play, and the effort. And he's somebody who's a really good communicator. So especially in games like last week, but more importantly in games like this week, we're going to be able to really see their natural strengths out there.
And Rashad, what do those guys bring to the table, and what are the challenges they're presenting for you?
Yes, ma'am. Speed and versatility. Both of those guys are definitely they're playmakers. When we talk about what our goals are, our number one goal is we have to stop the run. We have to be physical in the run game, and we have to neutralize those guys' effects outside. The second and third thing is really eliminating Lamar's legs and his plastering scramble drills. And those guys do a really good job displaying themselves, getting themselves open. So we have to do a good job staying on top of coverage, winning early, and then plastering late.
Targets, but 2 catches. One was that crazy one-handed touchdown in week 1. What does he have to do tomorrow?
Sure, Hall of Fame receiver, right? And obviously he's a trusted target guy. He's a guy that's proven in this league. He makes contested catches, especially in the high red zone area. So we have to do a really good job staying on top, eliminating explosives, and really when they do give the ball to him, we got to do a good job tackling in space.
Guys helping in the run game. Is that even a bigger point of emphasis this week because of Lamar's legs, because of Derek, and their ability to come in and help tackle?
Sure. And you asked that question. I think that's always a point of emphasis for us, especially when we talk about, outworking, out-hitting, out-physicaling our opponent. So that's been something in our identity that we've worked very, very hard since April to make sure that is very much a part of the tip of the spear. So, being able to get active in the run game and be a trusted teammate for our engine and our nerve center, it's been a point of emphasis this week.
I think Jim Schwartz said something in the summer about Denzel wanting to be more physical and kind of wanting to get better. I mean, he's always been a physical guy, but wanting to get better in that part of his game. Have you seen that from him?
Yes, and and the guys have really bought into what our standard is, right? And Coach Kevin always talks about our standard is do what we're supposed to do when we're supposed to do it every time. Our standard on defense is the best. And the best in all areas. And when we say that, our violence, our effort, our passion, that has to be on display. So with one of our trusted teammates, one of our best players being held accountable, he absolutely has worked this whole offseason to improve that in his game.
Helping the engine of the defense, and Coach Schwartz was talking about, gave you guys a lot of credit for that fourth quarter back-to-back sacks. But the guys were also talking about needing to start things faster and get things going faster. Is that something that you guys can do in your unit off the rip, or is it like we saw in that fourth quarter after a game full of tight coverage helping that? Can you get that going earlier, or is it something that has to be done as the game goes on?
That's a great question. And the reason why I say it's a great question, I'm going to throw 2 numbers, 31 and 11. So part of us starting fast really like embodies 31-11 when we tie or we're plus in the takeover margin. So our guys starting fast and really being a trusted teammate so that we can be, resilient together, that's extremely important to those guys. And that's definitely a point of emphasis on us. We talk about like communicate first, then execute, and us getting off to a fast start so that we can be the tip of the spear. That's definitely been a point of emphasis.
What are your expectations for him for the entire season? It's a big year for him. Last year was contract, all those things, playing outside all the time. What do you expect for him all season?
To do what we're supposed to do when we're supposed to do it every time. And again, like we know that every single thing that we do is a statement, and we want to make sure that, that statement is to our standard. And our standard defensively is playing with great violence, playing with great effort, great passion. So when you ask, what is that specific standard for Greg, it's really just continue to be a trusted teammate, keep arrowing up, keep majoring in the things that are important to us as a defense.
Many interceptions, but how do you guys increase your takeaways? Such an important stat for you guys as a defense. How do you do that when the opportunities necessarily aren't there? And is there a line where you can cross to try to force it, and then you're not making the play that you should have made without it there?
Yes, consistency. We talk about consistency, and simplicity is the key to success. So we have to have elite work habits. We have to have elite technique and fundamentals, and trusting in those fundamentals. And then when we talk about like 1 + 1 = 3, the sum has to be greater than its parts. It's really relying on what we do well, being consistent at those things so that we can make plays when the time comes.
Miles Harden, as he got that opportunity to start in the nickel.
Yeah, that young guy is physical. He's somebody that, we talk about like play speed, right? And part of play speed is you being able to be ahead of plays, being aware, being a great communicator. That's something that he's done since he's been in camp. And he continues to arrow up on those things. He's a guy that when we talk about, every meeting, every practice, every rep is a statement, it's very important to him. And it's very important to him to be a trusted teammate, not only amongst, the tip of the spear, but really be somebody that the engine and the nerve center can really look to and that they can count on. Okay. Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Morning. Who's first?
How do you feel about how Joe played? And then, of course, this is going to be a big emotional game for him. And just what do you feel like? What do you feel like the outlook is for him on Sunday in Baltimore?
I think it will be an emotional day for Joe. I know he's looking forward to it. We are as a team too to get going here in week 2 and get a better outcome than we did last Sunday.
Of the picks. Obviously, they went off the receiver's hands, and is he making an effort to throw low to avoid interceptions, or I know he was under siege on the first one. Anyways, how did you see those picks?
Well, I saw both of them. I think we all did in the quarterback room. It's a consensus that those throws could have been more precise. We always feel like when something goes awry, we always look at ourselves first and how could we improve, and so having those throws be more precise probably alleviates the end result on both of them.
You obviously have a number of young guys out there. With a guy like Joe, how important was it just his ability to kind of the calming way he could be with the rest of the guys in the huddle and kind of make sure guys get it in the right plays based on, what he's through his experience.
Yeah, I think that's a crucial component. That was very crucial, especially for an opener where there's more butterflies than a normal game once you've been out there a little bit. But for those young guys in an opener, Battle of Ohio, there was a lot going on, and I think Joe's calming influence helped our younger players perform at that high level that we saw.
Storyteller, how many Baltimore stories have you gotten this week?
Well, he does have a lot of stories. They're great ones. He's got fond feelings, I think, for his time there, clearly, and so he's looking forward to being back in that stadium. I know his family's going to drive down from South Jersey and be there, and it's going to be a great day for he and his family.
He's been doing this forever. Is there any concern, or you have to talk to him about managing those emotions that he's going to be feeling?
I think he's going to be good at that. He's managed them from playing in Super Bowl, winning a Super Bowl, just starting a bunch of openers, and I think he's been through a bunch of football seasons in high school, college, and pro, that he's going to be good to go, in that department.
The chemistry between Joe and Jerry Judy, how have you kind of seen that come along?
It is coming along. Joe didn't get as many turns, we'll say, in the spring and summer just because we were repping a bunch of various quarterbacks at that time. So I think he and Jerry, their best days are ahead of them, and they're gaining more familiarity with each other, and the rapport is definitely being enhanced on a daily basis here as we enter week 2.
Your young guys in that room, Dylan and Shador, kind of handled that transition to something they're not familiar with, which is not getting the reps maybe they'd be used to.
That is so true what you said. Neither of these guys have ever not been the guy. And that happens a lot with guys who enter the NFL. They've been the starters their whole lives. And so there's a transition there. And for the first week, they did a nice job. They immersed themselves, both of them, in the game plan. Did a lot of drill work on the side, both before and after practice. And then they get some scout team reps so they can get some balls airborne and make sure that they're staying in sync, of course, because really Dylan being 1 play away and Shador being 2 plays away.
You specifically about that continued quarterback development, because Kevin even said development doesn't stop even though you might not be the starter. What does the development look like during the week in the building? Where again you said you talked about the stuff you're doing before and after practice on the field, but during the week, how are you ensuring that these guys are still learning the playbook, they're really immersing themselves in understanding, and still progressing when maybe you don't get the on-field kind of validation?
Yeah, there's challenges there because you're not getting the time on task and getting the actual reps. So the drill work is crucial. The studying, I call them simulations, where we do almost stand-up meetings or walkthroughs, both in the meeting room and perhaps out on the grass or even in on the carpet where we have more space. So there's ways that we are trying to be creative, and it happens with each quarterback room in the whole league at all levels of football. You're just the guys that have to be ready to play, but also they're young, and so you want them to develop and keep working on their craft at the same time.
Off of that, just how much does the added time, these guys are coming from college where, the time restriction exists, allegedly. But, this is a full, 8 hours, whatever, however long. How much can that amount of extra time now they're allowed to spend, they can spend on it, maybe accelerate the process a little bit, even if, they're not necessarily, like you say, getting, time task on hand, time.
Yeah, it definitely helps to have a full day. They're in here on Tuesdays, even when it's supposed to be a player's day off. These guys are all in. So the entire quarterback room, we have Bailey, Zappy back, and so Deshaun being in there with his experiences and sharing them with these young guys, Bailey being 25, 26 years old. We've got really 3 young guys in there that are eager beavers, to figure this whole thing out and get good at it. So it's really a joy to work with all of them.
Kevin last week, who was running the scout team, and he said all of them. And so my question about that is, how beneficial is it for those young guys to go up against the first team defense and all of them having a chance to run scout?
Oh, it's all good. It's all good. At times the concepts resemble what we would run here with the Browns, and at times it's completely foreign. but the fact that they're out there and having to make decisions and process and then deliver throws accurately, all that is really good. And we try to engineer it or orchestrate it where the certain concepts almost meet our quarterbacks. So I'd say last week, Bailey did some really good things that tried to replicate Joe Burrow. We're doing some things, of course, to replicate Baltimore's quarterback Lamar this week with all three guys to really give the defense a good look. Because being a scout team quarterback, you're working on your own craft, but really it's an art form to replicate the opponent so the defense can be ready to do their thing on Sunday.
Follow up to that. Normally, like for teams, would it only be like one specific quarterback week to week that handles scout team, or are you maybe approaching this differently because you have so many young quarterbacks that are in that backup role?
Yeah, I'd say it's a little bit different, and it's exciting because those guys do take pride in getting the defense ready. They want to do a good job of replicating the opponent's offense, and at the same time, they want to try to relate any play that they get to our game plan for that week too, so they can feel like they can get a little double duty there.
Maybe a receiver handle maybe the mobility aspect of Lamar this week, or was it just the quarterbacks that?
Well, the quarterbacks are trying to do their best, as we know. Tough to replicate that character. Yeah, I think every team that plays Baltimore is in the same boat. You just got to brace for impact on game day.
Get that run game operating the way you guys want. For a quarterback specifically, Joe, you guys are able to get things going, especially with Lynch back in the mix. How does that open things up for the quarterback? How does that then accentuate the offense that you guys want to put out there on a field?
Yeah, I think in theory, the better a team runs the ball, the more that the defense probably plays more single safety coverage, which is much more fun to throw for a quarterback. The seams are open for business. It's one-on-one on the outside. Guys can enter the secondary unencumbered. The run game does a lot for the passing game and vice versa. So we're hoping to be a complementary offense and be balanced. And I think running the ball will be crucial to that. I know we did a nice job at times the other day. And like Kevin has said, looking for more of that going forward. Thank you.